Hey, you guys, it is Voluptuously Skinny, and we are on day 9 for getting rid of the regain and our Made to Crave devotion. I wanted to take a few moments to give you some updates on my stats, and then go on into the devotion. Excuse me. I'm not going to be before you long because my dog is not feeling well, one of my pups, and so I want to make sure that I get back to them. So let's get started. Let me open my stats up and let you know where I am. So I started at 370 pounds. I had VSG on 9/16/2015. And for those of you who don't know what VSG is, that's vertical sleeve gastrectomy. My lowest weight ever was 138, and I don't know how many of you remember that video where I was really low. I don't even think I was I don't remember exactly what weight I was at that time. I think I may have been 145, and it was so thin. I remember people telling me, "Oh, you look sick, you look so sick." And it wasn't because I was trying to look that way. It was just because that was what it was. My maintenance was between 155 and 160. I ended up having a huge debacle over the whole COVID quarantine and regained up to 256 pounds. Now my current weight is 226, and that means I am down a total of 30 pounds from my the weight that I regained, and that is a total down of 4 pounds from our start of our devotion time, our Made to Crave time. So we are going into our second week. That means that we want to start adding some things, because by the time we get to that third week, we want to pretty much be eating a lot of the same exact things that we normally would be eating. So as far as meat is concerned, go ahead and start adding the beef and the pork. Make sure that you're adding other dairy. You can add fruits now. And just when you add the fruits, if you haven't already, yes. Okay, you guys, I had to bring my pup in here. He's just not feeling very good. I'm going to get through this devotion, and then y'all just forgive me for speeding everything up today. But we are on day 9. Let me open this up. All right, let's get to our devotion. Day 9, it says, I could never give up that. Self-control is hard. We don't like to deny ourselves. We don't think it's necessary. We make excuses and declare, that's nice for someone else, but I could never give up blank. If we're relying on ourselves, that excuse may be true, but there's another level to self-control that too few of us find. In Matthew 19:23-24, Jesus said, I tell you the truth, it is hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. It's easier for the camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. In other words, Jesus was saying that it's hard for people who are satisfied with the things of this world to deny themselves. It's hard for someone who is rich with excess to deny herself and be humble enough to admit, I must give this up. When the disciples heard this teaching, they were confused until Jesus clarified. With man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. Verse 26. Maybe you've heard verse 26 spoken in the common context that God can make us healthy, wealthy, and get us to a new breakthrough. We tend to think of it as saying, with God, all good things are possible. With God, all lavish things are possible. But if you study this verse in the original context, it actually means, with man, it is impossible to deny yourself. With man, it is impossible to make sacrifices. With man, it is impossible to have self-control. But with God, all sacrificial things are possible. With God, all self-control is possible. I believe this one little shift in our thinking can make us feel empowered instead of feeling denied. Rather than giving in to the foods we crave, we can have God's self-control to make a completely different decision, such as a decision for health, a decision for renewed energy, a decision for confidence and peace. Most importantly, a decision that honors both our body and God. Good deal. What decision will you make today? What will you give up? What will you begin to crave instead of craving food? Right, let's look at our verses. Matthew 19, verses 23 through 26 says, "Then Jesus said to his disciples, 'Truly I tell you, it is hard for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of heaven. Again, I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of God.' When the disciples heard this, they were greatly astonished and asked, 'Who then can be saved?' Jesus looked at them and said, 'With man that is impossible, but with God all things are possible.'" And then lastly, based on today's reading, what is one thing God is saying to you? All right, you guys, I pray that you receive this word today on our 9th day. What you could feel like you could never give up. But just remember that with man, all those things are impossible. But with God on your side, God who gives you resources, God who can give you the answers to what it is that you need answers to, God who can supply you with whatever it is that you need to satisfy you so that you are not feeling denied or feeling deprived. So, what will you give up and instead seek God? All right, y'all. My puppy is laying here. I am getting ready to try and get him to the hospital. And I will see y'all soon. Y'all keep praying for me. I'll keep praying for y'all. Peace out, babies. Mwah.